The day I found out how fast I could run. This happened to me a few years ago, not too far from my house, and to this day, I still get chills every time I walk down that sidewalk alone. Summer was at an end, and my school was having a planning day, so I stayed home with my older sister. She had a terrible cold with a high fever and an ugly cough. It worried me, so I called my mom on her lunch break and asked her what to do. She wouldn't be off work until 8 in the evening, since she had a meeting right after, so she told me to go to the drugstore and buy some cough medicine and something for the fever. Even though I'm very lazy, I obliged. I just wanted my sister to feel better. I live on the north side of Norway, so it didn't take long before it got darker out. It also rained cats and dogs outside, and it had been like that for many days, so it was pretty cold out. I thought to myself that I wouldn't be surprised if I caught a cold as well from this damn weather, but I sucked it up, put on my raincoat and boots, and went out in the rain. I got to the drugstore and bought the stuff I needed without any problems. Only the woman cashier was a bit chatty. I'm not a chatty person and I hate small talk, so it was kind of awkward. I eventually got out of there and began walking home. I was about halfway there when I noticed a car coming up behind me, very slowly. I could hear the sharp sound of brakes as it slowed down until it was just rolling beside me. I was already cold, but this made me freezing. The car was dark grayish with tinted windows. It looked expensive enough to make my car-crazed sister drool, but I was too scared to care. I just kept walking with the car rolling beside me. The front window closest to me on the passenger side slowly rolled down, and I turned to see a guy in his 20s flashing me a smile. I could barely see the driver and the two others in the back, all guys. It made me want to puke. I quickly looked away.
Hey, sweetie, where are you headed? Need a lift?
His voice made me want to cry. His tone was so sweet and taunting, but he wanted to hurt me. I just knew it.
What you got in the bag?
He asks. I could see his hand in my peripheral vision, reaching out of the car and pointing at my bag. That's when I saw it. Something shiny and sharp in the driver's hand. I didn't even think. I just ran. There was a neighborhood on the opposite side of the road, so I ran past the front of the car, over the road, and into someone's back garden. It was a miracle I didn't get hit, and that they were too shocked to speed up, but they soon snapped out of it. I could hear loud cursing in the background and the car stopping, then the car door slamming shut. I tucked my bag under my coat so it wouldn't make so much sound, and kept running. I didn't think of knocking at any doors because I knew they would get to me before anyone could open. I ran zigzag between the houses for them to lose sight of me and look for somewhere to hide. It worked. I couldn't see them, but I knew they were still after me. I spotted a huge bushy area at a ditch that was pretty steep. I went for it, slid down there like a fucking pro and crawled inside the biggest, thickest bush I could find. Then I waited. It didn't take long for them to show up. I could see their shoes as they paced around me.
You let the bitch go.
They stood right beside my hiding place. I had to bite down on my coat to stop myself from screaming.
How could I know she was crazy enough to run like that?
I recognized the voice as the one talking to me in the car.
She's fucking fast for being so fat. Shut up! Search over there!
They looked everywhere. They even searched the bush right next to me. I could barely breathe, and my heartbeat was so hard and fast. I was afraid they would hear it. But they finally gave up after what felt like hours, and cussed and yelled some more before they left. I waited there, listening for probably an hour before getting out of my hiding spot and knocking on the first house I saw. The couple living there was so kind to let me stay there and wait for my mom to pick me up after I called her and told her what happened. When we got home, my sister was waiting for us, angry that it took so long. I had to laugh. I never saw that car again, and I never called the police. Since this is Norway and this area is so quiet, they couldn't do anything else than write a report about it in a file, then throw it away. They needed proof and a name. I couldn't remember their faces, so it was useless. My mom warned the people she knew about dark grayish cars with tinted windows. Nothing more could be done. I just had to cope and get over it. By the way, now you know fat chicks can run too, even from 4 guys with knives. How's that for a stereotype? Followed from work. I'm telling this story now, while it's still fresh in my memory. I work in healthcare. I sleep at work 5 nights a week, work 16-hour shifts 5 days a week, and then have 2 days off, which are alternate weekends. Anyway, I've gotten pretty used to sleeping in random places and in tiny little offices on fold-out beds. I'm quite a paranoid person, but have slowly but surely managed to shake the feeling of fear and dread when sleeping somewhere unfamiliar. It's actually done my mental state some good. I did a sleep shift at a new unit the other night. It was one with just 3 very independent clients, and it was a nice, easy shift. I watched some TV and then went to bed at 10 p.m. I then awoke at 7 a.m. to unlock the doors, administer medication, and have a coffee. I stayed and worked the day shift there, as someone had called in sick and left at 10 p.m. that night. It was a lovely day with no behaviors or emergencies. When I left, I had to exit out through the parking lot, down a road, into my car which is parked on the next street. As I was leaving the building and doing a handover with the next sleep staff, a black BMW pulled up outside the parking lot. I literally thought nothing of it, as I knew it'd either be staff or someone picking a member of staff up. I walked out of the parking lot, and as I was walking out of the entrance to it, I looked towards the car, and the driver was exiting the vehicle. I noticed because the interior light came on, and it caught my attention. I carried on walking down the street, and heard the car doors shut. I looked behind me, and saw the guy following me. I couldn't think of any reasonable excuse as to why he'd be following me, so I grabbed the only thing I had, a pen, and gripped it in my hand. I felt him grab my shoulder. I spun around and stabbed him in the cheek with the pen. He swept my hand away and said something along the lines of,
You're gonna stab me with the pin?
and grabbed my face, hand across my mouth. I just wriggled and thrashed about until he lost grip on me. As soon as he did, I ran to my car and locked myself in. But I couldn't leave. I couldn't control the clutch because my legs were shaking so much, and I just kept stalling the car. He was standing on the passenger side, staring through the window, kinda smirking at me. I just sat there, totally frozen, and he shouted through the window,
I'll be here Sunday. You got family? You got kids? Watch.
and then he ran back to his car. I probably sat there for 20 minutes before I could drive home. I can distinctly remember his face and how much he was enjoying the fear he was causing. His smile, that's something I don't think I'll ever forget. I drove around in circles and zigzags for 40 minutes before going home, totally afraid he was following me and would know where I lived. I eventually got home, locked all my doors and windows, and turned all the lights off. I don't think I've ever been that scared. I checked my rota, and sure enough, I was due back at that building on the Sunday coming up. I have no idea how he knew, or who he was. All I could gather was that he was a Middle Eastern man, probably in his 30s. So, Middle Eastern man in his 30s, let's not meet again. They're always watching. I'm a 25-year-old female, and right now, I'm caught up in a bit of an unsettling situation. For the past 2 weeks, I've been coming home from work to find packages on my doorstep. It happens every other day, sometimes more, sometimes less, and the packages always contain the same thing: video recordings of me. Surveillance style. They're in disc form, and they're about 5 to 10 minutes long each. Just me in various spots. Hanging out at the cafe near my workplace, coming out of the grocery store, pumping gas, etc. They're always taken from across the street, and they appear to be rather dated. Going by my attire and the weather, I'd say they were recorded sometime around October, before it had snowed, and before the trees outside were completely bare. The videos don't appear to be menacing, but they're still very, very creepy. Someone has been following me, recording me in secret, and now they're taunting me with the footage they've collected. For all I know, they're still recording me. I have no idea. I've installed a dash cam on my car and I've informed the police. They've advised me to get cameras and be extra careful, and if anything else happens, if one of the cameras catches footage of the stalker, then I should report back to the police immediately. I've also installed motion sensor cameras outside my house, front and back. I installed them 2 days ago and I haven't received any packages since. I'll know tomorrow. This person has never gone 3 days without making a delivery. I have no ex-boyfriends who would do anything like this, nor am I seriously hurt to the point that they would taunt me in such a creepy way. The really creepy thing about the recordings is that there's no audio. It's just video footage, and they always seem to zoom in on random parts of my body at different times. If I'm sipping on coffee, they'll zoom in on my lips. If I'm tucking a few loose strands of hair behind my ear, they'll zoom in there. If I'm reading something for a long period of time, they'll zoom in on my eyes. And the creepiest one of all, if I'm pumping gas into my car, they'll zoom in into the hand that's grasping the nozzle. Suffice to say, I'm scared. My boyfriend has been made aware, but he currently lives in Seoul. We're long distance. He said he's going to fly home and stay with me, and take a few weeks off work to make sure I don't get kidnapped or anything. I've never gone through anything like this before. The police are no help either. If anything else happens, I'll post an update. Let's hope the motion sensor cameras were enough to scare them off. Hey everyone, I hope you liked today's stories. If you did, please drop a like and a comment. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe by clicking the shiny red button below. It'll mean a lot. In the description, I'll leave my email for story submissions, as well as my Facebook and Twitter. Thanks everyone. See you Saturday. Peace.